Things off with a quick round of what's hot and what you appreciate. Start from a place of gratitude, being able to receive as we go into this Monday here. So today should be a really good meeting, by the way. We'll be able to follow up on some concepts from prep this past weekend, do some follow up reminders, assignments, and get everyone locked and loaded going into today. So we'll do a quick round of what's hot we appreciate. Keep it 30 seconds or less, and we'll start off. Let's start with Tyler, who's got food in his mouth. So we will start with Jess, and then we'll go to Rochelle.
What's hot is I just hit 1,000 on my spreadsheet for Jumpstart. And then what do I appreciate? I appreciate my best friend Alexis for spending Valentine's Day with me.
Nice. Let's go to Rochelle, and then we'll go to Tyler.
Well, what's hot is I have a few SMRA interviews lined up in these next couple of days, so I'm really excited to get some momentum with that. And what do I appreciate? Just my family. I had some family moving, and I got to spend some time with them before they left, so that was pretty cool.
All righty, let's go to Tyler, and then we'll go to Audrey.
Yeah, so what's hot for me, I would say, so the social media spreadsheet, I just implemented another 2 hours into my daily schedule for that. I really want to go big, so trying to get to the top of the list if I can. And also what I appreciate is Eddie. I really appreciate Eddie and like the one-on-one calls he's been giving me every week, which is really useful.
All righty, let's go to Audrey, and then I'll go to Yandri.
What's hot right now is school. My classes are going pretty well and making some new friends, which is nice. And what I appreciate is my dad. Tomorrow's his birthday, so I'm looking forward to spending it with him.
Awesome. Let's go to Yandri, and we'll go to Taylor.
All right, so what's hot, I'd say, just like Audrey, just school, just finished first round of exams, so got that through. And then what I appreciate is my family.
Taylor and Adrian.
Okay, so mine's kind of the same. What's hot is midterm week, and what I appreciate is all the support that we're receiving from the division.
Awesome. You're good midterm week right now, Taylor?
Yep, I have an exam at 8.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll go to Adrian, and we'll go to Chloe.
What's hot is getting some work in with the SMRA program this week. And what I appreciate Nicole. Had a great day yesterday.
Awesome. Let's go to Chloe, and then we'll go to Nick.
What's hot is definitely
Dana.
social media jumpstart. And then who I appreciate is my family.
All right, perfect. Let's go from we'll go to Nick, Dana, and then we'll go to Anthony Marino.
Can I be heard? Are we good?
You can be heard.
All right, cool. So what's hot? I just got some really good motivation from Eddie today. So I'm really feeling pumped for the summer. This last month was really difficult for me for personal reasons. So I'm just really excited to get going. And what I appreciate the Andrew and Tyler and basically and Eddie and Jonathan being my hype team for the most part, getting me through this difficult time.
Nice. Yeah, always good to have people in your support wing when you need it. Let's go to Marino. We'll go to Ramirez.
So what's hot is that I'm at 640 names on my social media jumpstart list, which is great. And then I appreciate my family.
All right, let's go to Ramirez, and then we'll go to Hernandez.
What's hot is finished exam week last week, so I'll get some time to focus on work. And what I appreciate is all my roommates. We had a pretty good day yesterday.
All right, let's go to Hernandez, and we'll go to Mason.
All right, what's hot is getting back into the swing of things with demos. And what I appreciate is the gym. I love the gym.
All right, let's go to Mason. Juliana.
My sister had a gym meet this past weekend. She got a 39.2, which is 0.8 points away from having a perfect score as her best meet ever. Qualified for nationals.
Wow.
And then, she's insane. And then I also appreciate my sister for helping me source some SMRAs, and so she could be messaging them when we get closer to the summer.
All right, let's go to Juliana, and we'll go to Cassidy.
What's hot is being on these calls. I like that we just have the circle of influence. And what I appreciate is is definitely being able to have some one-on-one calls with Eddie and getting a little more like get my questions in there and learn a little more.
Yeah, thank you, thank you for Eddie. All right, let's go to Cassidy, and then we'll go to Nick Franklin.
Yeah, there's a lot that's hot right now, but I guess the big one is I'm down in Florida and I'm back with everybody, which is really exciting. I'm blessed, seriously. I'm blessed to have a job that allows me to do that. And also I'm grateful for my dad for sticking with me and bringing me back down here. So.
Awesome. All right, Nick Franklin, take us home.
So for me, what's hot is I'm leaving for Tennessee in 3 days. I'm going snowboarding for the first time ever. Super excited for that. And then I appreciate my friends, I guess. Just had a nice little day yesterday as well. So yeah, very thankful for that.
First time snowboarding, you said?
Yeah, first time seeing snow actually. So I'm pretty excited for that too.
Get ready to bust
All right.
that ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're gonna eat some serious shit, but that's neither here nor there. Just don't tear your AC joint in your shoulder. That's what I did last time I was boarding. All right, well, we'll dive in officially for the day, ladies and gents. Couple quick things for the agenda just for today. We're gonna do a quick little debrief of prep. I want to talk about what just give you guys some clarity and confidence, what might be still confusing, or just anything that you guys could use some clarity and confidence on. I want to do quick assignment reminders and give you guys some updates on social media jumpstart and benchmarks. We're going to talk about getting out of finals early, and then I'm going to spend about 20 minutes reviewing some information that was kind of part of Eddie's message, but we didn't quite hit on it as much as I'd like to. So I want to just make sure we hit on a couple extra things there, talking about post fast start management and post first 10-day management, how to manage reps a little bit more at a higher level beyond their first 10 days. So the first thing I'd like to do is just go around the horn, and we'll probably spend 5-10 minutes talking about it, but open up your notes from prep this weekend. And I'd just like to hear, coming off of prep, what is, what were some light bulbs, what were some takeaways, what's giving you guys just some clarity, and what's becoming more clear now after this weekend, what's giving you some more confidence. And I'll also open up the horn for anything that you could use some clarity on based off of just things we talked about coming out of this past week. So what's giving you guys some clarity, and what's giving you all some confidence coming out of this weekend? What are you thinking about? We'll go to Nick Franklin first, and then we'll go around the horn.
Yeah, so I really liked Eddie's talk when he did the comparison with like how like children or like how people grow up and their like how their minds develop and how that connects to like a rep. I think that was like really good, because like at the point where we're all at, where we're all like kind of fully developed like reps, it's kind of like easy to forget about like those times when you weren't like that. So I really like that comparison to kind of put it in perspective.
Cool, love that. Let me hop over to someone else. Raise your hand. Who's else raising their hand? Let's go to Nick Dana.
I personally I made this connection like in the middle. I think it was in the beginning when you're sharing like what you're excited about for the summer. I'm personally really excited to develop more reps like I did in the fall, but actually get them excited about TLA now that they can qualify to go into TLA, because TLA has just been an amazing part of this year. I'm just really excited about that.
And not only just that too, but that's a key to retention, right? So the way that you're going to retain reps this summer is by getting them excited about TLA. Reps that aren't excited about TLA usually don't get retained too long into the summer. And again, I've said this before, but it's not necessarily about TLA necessarily, as it is them having a long-term vision for themselves of where they could be beyond the summertime. Because if they have a vision for themselves, then they'll usually keep working towards that vision. If they don't have a vision towards themselves, usually most people will only keep doing that for a couple weeks before they go, I don't know if I do want to keep doing this. And then you're like, wait, what the heck? I thought you just hit dirty 30. Why would you quit now? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really see myself doing this anymore. So good point, Nick. Let's go to Mason.
Yeah, one of my biggest takeaways was like the fact that the divisional program is going to be so buttoned up, and it's going to be a lot easier it's going to be a lot easier to have some success, because all we have to do is just basically just pump them into Champions Club, pump them into SLDMs, and you kind of do like the heavy lifting for us. So
yeah, and I think part of that is like it's a two-way street, right? So the division there's a lot of divisional support structures that are available to you all this summer that have never been there in the past. And, I expect Mason to be the most grateful for it because he's coming off of, branching 2 other times where that's not been the case. Some of y'all are already kind of used to and living in that programming world. Mason's starting to branch where it was like, yeah, you'll see Jeff at the conference and maybe talk to him. And then like you're running literally every single human thing you could possibly do outside of that. And you're getting your people when you get your people to an SLDM, have them drive 4 hours to Fort Lauderdale, and get them to commit to that drive for the day. And then they'll be there for the SLDM to get influence from the divisional manager. And like, that's how, much harder it is. So, and by the way, it's way easier, but because it's easier, I also have seen it be, less of a focus. Because Champions Club is just like a call. They don't have to, drive to the office. There's lower amount of commitment. So in theory, it should be easier to get people there. But, why were our results for Champions Club attendance a lot weaker last summer? Because it was easier and because we're like, whatever. We forgot about it less because we didn't actually think, oh, I'm going to have reps coming to my office tomorrow. I'm running this meeting. I'm showing up to the office at 7:30. I better make sure there's some people in front of me if I'm going to show up to the office tomorrow morning. I'm going to make sure there's as many damn people there as possible versus, it's a Zoom call, whatever, it's going to be ran. So I think it's a two-way street, right? You guys have a little bit more support, but that means it, also should give you some confidence. If you can just get good at driving people to the events that are already set up for you in the schedule, you're going to have a lot of success. If you can get good at promoting what's already happening in the division, Champions Club, SLDMs, getting people to the conferences and events, like the stuff is already there for you all, but you have to get your people there to them. Going back to Leon's question, the art of promotion. So it's a two-way edged sword. A lot of the stuff is easier, but you have to be really good at driving event attendance and plugging your people into the divisional systems that are there and available for you. If you don't really know what's going on, it's not going to make it that much more easier or helpful too. So good point there, Mason. Taylor, and then we'll go to Jess.
So I think something that stuck out to me from Eddie's talk was about how he was saying that all the reps don't know that you're saying the exact same thing to every single person. And, like it's kind of a simple thing to think about, but it's like a good reminder that even though it's like repetitive to you, you have to do the same thing, like the same way every single time, no matter what, and like have the same energy because they hadn't heard it 20 times before when you said it. Like they're just hearing it for the first time. And they only know you're saying it once.
And that's with everything, right? PDI calls, your post-interview script, same thing. This person's coming in for a job interview. It's like, yeah, I've said this post-interview thing 10 times. So like I've been there before too, where I remember literally running interviews in my first branch summer and be like finishing a post-interview and someone will ask me like, what'd you just say? And I'm like, because I literally was just like on autopilot mode, like mumbling the same words that I say like every single time, like, yeah, so they're like, huh? And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, they're going for the job. It's their first, they have no idea what to expect in their first interview. And I'm just like, yeah, same thing we always do, right? And it's like, no, this is a different person. You're talking to someone that's never heard any of this before. You got to come in with a lot of presence and intentionality to bring it, even though, it could be something that you've done multiple other times. I see Audrey's hand raised. We're going to go to Jess, and then we'll go to Tyler, and then I think the last one will be Audrey.
For me, a lot of things during this prep just like connected together and related, specifically like going over the big 3 for each day. I'm really happy we finished that up just because it gives like clarity, but also where focus goes, energy flows, which means that like just energy management. I know the things for the summer and to start doing now to flow my energy into that create the most results for the office. So instead of just being really busy, like actually getting the outcomes from each function.
Mm-hmm. The other thing I want, Jess, can you mention what you mentioned earlier on our conversation today? They gave you clarity about like just the same thing you mentioned to me.
Yeah, just the number one thing that I have control of is recruiting and like just having confidence that like I know I could sit on a Sunday and set up 20 PRs, and that's the thing that would move everything the most. So just knowing that like literally if I just like do that, it just gives a lot of confidence that everything else will kind of like fall into place.
Mm-hmm. And that's really what I want you guys to start getting to a point at this point in time is like get to a place of confidence. You're going to perform better when you have more confidence going into the summer. So there might be some things that you're not confident right now, which we talked about. Hey, focus on if there's something that's tearing away at your confidence or making you less confident about something, then like focus on those things. Like focus on what like if there's something that you're not confident about and you're not confident about it, then put some energy and emphasis to try to fix that before the summertime. And there's going to be things that you're not good at this summer as a manager. There's going to be things that you mess up like a lot. And you should get confidence knowing that like, hey, if I just do like the most important activities, then I'm going to have success this summer. And that should give you some confidence of like, hey, if you recruit 100 people this summer, you're going to have a good office sales performance. And you're going to make good money if you're going to recruit 100 people. If you can consistently set 20 PRs and you can, hire an SRA team, you will recruit probably close to 100 people this summer. And those are things that are all within your all's control. Like you should feel confident knowing like, all right, like, yeah, there's a lot that goes into running an office. PVI, interviews, SLDMs, team meetings, PCs, paycheck meetings, champions club. Like there's a lot. And at the end of the day, it's like, look, I might not be good at all that great stuff, but if I know how to set PRs, I know how to do that. I know I can set 20 PRs a week. Cool. Then you should have some confidence knowing that like, hey, if you're focused on that, if you know you can get recruiting going, you're going to be able to run a solid enough office for sure this summer. And there'll be opportunities to take it higher from there too. So I really want us focusing on like, hey, what's the most important things for us now going into the summer? We'll take one last one with Audrey, and then we're going to transition here.
Cool. I also think Tyler maybe had something.
Oh, sorry, Tyler had one more too. Yeah, sorry, I think I went in reverse order too. You go, Audrey, and then I'll go to Tyler.
Something that was just exciting to me was the SMRA talk at the end, implementing some changes and like implementing Trey Ketchum's way of doing things. Like, how can you get 20 to 30 SMRAs launched this summer, paying them for training, inspiring them to go into sales, and just like having them on backup just in case whenever you need them. It was just cool because I've been doing the SMRA program for a minute, and I think implementing some of those changes will be a game changer.
Yep. And just as an update too, we're going to have a lot of updated documents that will be revealed and presented to you guys at kickoff and kill meeting. And just so you know, nothing's drastically being changed. So you don't have to like learn anything new. Like we'll have a new updated revised SMRA interview for the summertime, and it's still going to be the same SMRA interview. Just a little bit, there'll be some tweaks in exactly how we explain and promote certain aspects of the position that will be incorporated into that interview. So it's not like a whole brand new interview, so you need to learn, but there will be buttoned up, updated, on point with our current programs and documents, like scripts that are going to be, created and provided here as well. So it doesn't mean like don't wait around until stuff is given to you at kill meeting, but there will be some updated nuances that will be presented at that time. So thanks, Audrey. And then Tyler, take us home.
Yeah, so what I took away, like the biggest thing was really similar to Jess, actually. It was the talk that you gave about the key responsibility areas and like just like the main things you need to focus on for the summertime, because I feel like it's been kind of confusing for me focusing on like a bunch of different things and like kind of mapping out like exactly what's the most important and everything else will kind of follow. Give me some more things to like focus on when it comes to like skill set too. So that was probably big. And then also the other thing too was just the amount of sources that you have for calling PRs was really cool too. Like I have a whole list of things to check out next time. I'm like, oh, I don't really know where to call PRs. There's a ton. So that's very helpful.
Yeah, there's always there's an unlimited list basically, so you can always be low on names, and there's a list of there's never not PRs to call. There's just a list of like where are you at with how ideal the PRs are to call, and there's always PRs to call. There just might be a little bit less ideal than the ones that we want to call. And that's sometimes what you have to do to get your place to where you are calling more of the ideal people, so good point there, Tyler. All right, ladies and gents, we're going to move on a little bit from this. Any questions or is there any areas of clarification that people could use from this past week or anything else like that came up? I know there wasn't any questions on that, but anything that came up this week and that maybe you could use some clarity on right now? Cool. There's nothing. That's all right too. But Don't be afraid to ask questions, by the way, because I know sometimes people ask saying like don't want to ask a question because you don't want to seem like silly for not knowing the answer to it. But the reality is that if you have that question or you could use some clarity on it, there's probably multiple other people on the call that are also in a similar spot, So just want to speak to that too. Jess?
I did have a question. It might be answered when the calendars come out. When do we start? Like when when do we start sending the SMRA messages or Growth to Success does? And when's the first training class? Probably gonna come out in the calendar, but helpful.
Yes. So a lot of that stuff we're gonna cover at Kill meeting and when we start doing our caps for the summertime too. So that's when when do you start is going to be dependent upon when you get to your territory and when are you at finals in schools. So that start date is going to be a little bit different for everybody. Again, if you want to just open up your calendars real quickly to April, so you can get a visual of this. Okay, everyone will probably be running their first training class like the first week of the summer, I believe. Let me just double check on this. Let me confirm this because it's not in my calendar.
Isn't it the 29th and the 30th, that Thursday and Friday?
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the first week of summer is April 27th. Okay, that's the first week of campaign number 2. So everyone should be running their first training. Will be on the 29th and 30th. Okay, now to run a training, typically you need to be recruiting for 2 to 3 weeks leading up to that training, which means you've already ran an SMRA training. And you've already been running interviews for 2 weeks leading up until that point in time. Okay, that's where most people will be running their first training. If you're running a training after that, like I said, it's a little bit late. You're already missing a couple weeks going into the summer of recruiting. The ideal is that you're actually, for selected, most of y'all will be running your first training 29th and 30th. For certain individuals on the call, you're a second year branch. If you're a district manager and you're not in school yet, this will definitely start earlier. You're not going to wait till probably then. You're probably going to start running trainings a little bit before then. Or if you are a first year that gets out of your classes much earlier, you might run one on the 22nd and 23rd, or possibly as early as the 15th and the 16th coming out of summer kickoff. Okay. So again, but it's going to be different. We'll map that out in your cap sessions. Part of that's going to be on you and how soon you get out of your classes and finals. If you're still finishing up, it might like I said, you don't want to push that date back any further. So that's typically the flow is the last week of April is when you'll usually running your first training. So that's why you want to be out of your finals, beginning of April, mid-April latest, because then you've got 2 weeks. You gotta get the training set up, right? You got to start the SMRA interviewing hiring process. You got to start the interviews, get them into the schedule, things like that to be able to build up to that first seminar. And the other reason, again, it just goes back to why you want to get out finals early is just and I'm sure some other veteran managers or Mason or Audrey, Lindsay, Alex would even say this, you will probably mess up your first couple cycles. Okay. Meaning your first couple trainings of the summer, you're probably going to do awful and bottom. Some people get off the really strong starts. Okay, and just come out of the gates, boom, I launched 10 my first week. They're all selling. I'm having 15, 20 grand per week my first weekend. Great. That's 95% of people, not what happens to them. There's just some natural on the job, hey, kind of like a learning curve, for your first couple months, which is why, again, it's the earlier you can get there, ideally, you're messing up some of the trainings in April. And then by the time May comes around and summer is actually starting and officially tabbing for summer, you're on the right track. And this again is why it's so important to get to your territory early, getting out of your finals early, because if you get to your territory late, or your first training is the first week of or let's call it the second week, and your first training is the 6th and 7th, and that training's a little rough, or you have trouble building up to that one, the 13th and 14th is rough. Now it's almost the end of May before the time you're actually even getting training really going and actually getting some reps launch out the door. And you've already missed one of the biggest months of recruiting for the summertime too. So this is why, again, I'm just going back to the importance. Mason, were you going to chime in there too to add some thoughts?
Yeah, well, it was kind of another question because I know you said during the prep that we were having every schedule was the exact same time with interviews and things like that. Do you have an updated version of that schedule? That might be a stupid question. You probably already sent it in, but
I do have a schedule that I showed you guys at prep from last summer. And I can send that into. Would that be helpful for me to send? Would that be helpful for me to send into the chat now, just so everyone has a copy of it?
Yeah,
gonna
I
see
just
it.
knew that one was from last summer, so I don't know if there was going to be another update.
Yes, that one will be ready before Kill meeting. It's just on my to-do list this week. So I'm going to be buttoning up the summer schedule for vet DMs and for new BMs and DMs as well. So I'll have an updated version of that will be provided to you all. I might have it actually by next NLG call, but it will definitely be by the Kill meeting. The Kill meeting is where I'm like, that's like the meeting of like, okay, that will be just to give you guys some perspective. Not as much like we've been talking about a lot of most TLA products have been like training how to run these meetings. That's like action time. That's like planning. Here's the setup to the summer. Here's how we're gonna do things. Here's all the dates this summer. Here's when we're like, it's a lot more like this is what's happening for the summer. This is the schedule that we're gonna run. Here's the programs. Here's everything. And there'll be a little bit of like boot camp type vibes. We'll probably do some kind of round the horn drill for skill and some practice and bringing some attention to certain things, but it will not be a ton of like that will just be the nitty gritty schedule stuff that like a lot of people could use some like clarity on too. So good question, Mason, and I'll be able to provide that. Do you all want me to send the schedule from last summer though into the group chat so you have a general idea? Okay, let me just go ahead and send a photo of that then into the NLG chat here. Okay, and you guys will see on it too. There's like a there's like a mid-May shift and change in the schedule too. Where we just shift from doing things later to earlier. Lindsay?
Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to chime in, like for your like new office people, like I definitely didn't execute well on everything last summer, but if there was one thing, it's I followed this schedule almost to a T every single day. Like it was just so helpful. It's just like the skeleton of the business. It's not like everything that needs to get done, but like if you do these things, like if you follow it, like you're gonna at least hit your big 3 every day. So
yeah, the schedule is just follow the schedule. The last thing, any takes from any of our veterans on just people that have done it before. Also, Alex is on the call too. Just any tips on like or anyone that's already started to make moves with getting out of your classes and finals early. And by the way, getting out of classes and finals early, remember what I just said about, I made a comment earlier, Mason said, all the divisional support that we have. And it's like, yeah, like, so it's easier than ever before. Like all the events are already there, but sometimes we do less of a job of executing. This is my same fear with getting out of finals early, because every other year you've had to like literally, like if I'm in Tallahassee and stuff, like I've had to physically, leave school, pack up my bags, get out of all my files, take them all, be done with them for the summer, move out to Ocala, open up an office for the summertime. All that stuff is way easier. Like you have so much less on your plate. And my fear is that because it's so much easier, that a lot of people aren't going to take this as seriously and how important it actually is to get out of your finals. It's like, oh, it's virtual, I'll figure it out. And you're going to be stressed as hell the last 3 weeks of your school year, the first 3 weeks of summer, because you didn't get prioritized. And now you're trying to run your office on top of do finals week at the same time, and it's not going to be a very fun and exciting time. So that's like, again, my fear in all this is like, hey, like it's easier to get out your stuff because they're virtual, and it's still really, really important. It can't be like, oh, it's virtual, I'll probably be fine. Like it's not as much work, but it's still some work to get this set up the right way. Mason?
Yeah, just to basically reiterate what you said, when I first branched, yeah, it was live, but I didn't do a good job getting out of my finals, and which means my move-in was delayed. So I was running these live interviews with like half my office set up. I was doing finals virtually from home while I was like moving into my office and running interviews, and it was an absolute disaster. It was not fun on any occasion. Last year, this past summer, I did a lot better. I was a lot more prepared to go out and get out of finals early, and it really helped. I was able to run an SMRA training. I was able to run 2 rep trainings before the end of the school year. So I'd like really make sure you're doing what you can to get out of your finals, even though it's virtual. Just show up to office hours, right? Just show up to office hours. The teachers are more lenient now because it is virtual, so you shouldn't have a problem, but you really just have to like put in the time to do it. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, and one thing I'll just make a comment just to follow up on that, okay, is that like I want you guys to do well in school, and school should be a priority for all of y'all and finishing off strong. And as much as taking finals earlier and moving up the dates can oftentimes be a stressful situation because you have to study ahead of time, you haven't even taken some of the classes. It's like, I will tell you guys that you will probably do better with those finals than you will when you're trying to take the finals around running your office. You know, it's just going to be a lot of you all we're doing winter break branches, and you started those winter break branches during your finals weeks, and you all know how that went, you know, and how that was those weeks where it's like, you know, and I'm just telling you guys too, like you're going to have more stress and pressure doing that because what's going to happen is you're going to be trying to focus on finals. You're going to see all of your other branch manager peers performing and running their office at a high level, and it's going to stress you out and be like, oh my gosh, I should be doing this. And you're going to want to be in the office, but want to be on finals. And then one of them's going to suffer, if not both of them, you know? So part of it is like, you just, at a bare minimum, you got to lighten the load of, you know, what finals can I get out of? What finals can I take early so I'm done with it? And again, if you're in a situation where it's like, yeah, Andrew, I got out of 2 of my finals, 2 of them taking them early, and I have 1 test that I'm going to have to take in the middle, like the first week of May. Cool. Maybe 1 test, you know, is not the end of the world. I had to do that some summers too. You know, 1 test in the middle of the week. Having 3 finals 1 week, 2 finals the next week, you know, first and second week of May, you're going to get crushed, you know, by that too. So it's all about like, okay, maybe it's not perfect. Maybe you don't get out every final, take them all at the beginning of April and be done completely. But you want to be able to be at least like, I can breathe, I can focus in my office. I know I have that 1 final coming up later on, but I'll be able to study for that a couple of days beforehand. Maybe I'll pull an all-nighter one time for, you know, that final, and, you know, it'll be hard, but it'll be done, you know. But you want to be able to give yourself some space where you can focus. And again, that also means, again, this is why I'm stressing so hard on like benchmarks and things like that, is because like I don't want you guys to get behind. Like school will be busier and pick up at the end of March because you're trying to do double the amount of school, really, is what's going to be happening. Like you're going to be taking on more weight with school as you get closer to the summertime. So that's why it's like, hey, if you're behind on social media benchmarks, like you're not going to get caught up on it. Like you're not going to make up for it at the end of March or going into the summer in April. Like you're just going to be behind. That's just how it's going to be. Things aren't going to get like easier with the schedule as the spring continues. Things will probably pick up a little bit more as the spring continues, which is why I'm like, hey, get on top of it now. You know, start making the moves now. Start talking to your professors now. If you're doing bad in your classes, if you're doing poor performing in your classes, like fix it now. You're not going to, the end of the semester this year is not going to be a good recovery time for like you to make up on your bad grades. Like be attentive to this stuff now. Don't wait till the end. Any other thoughts or comments from our vets? Cool. Yeah, Audrey.
Yeah, basically just be the teacher's pet anytime they ask, even if it's on Zoom or whatever, like always participate, show up to office hours like Mason was saying. And I remember before last summer, there was 1 class I wasn't able to get out of early, and I was swamped with like team meeting and like just trying to prepare and set PRs, and like it was a hectic day for me. And I actually missed my exam because I was so focused on everything else. Luckily, I was able to like make it up, but that just kind of proves the point Andrew's trying to make to you guys. Like, you're going to be busy. You're not going to have time to focus on school. So yeah, that's my plug, to be like the teacher's pet and get out early.
Yeah, and again, it's easier to stand out to your teachers than it's ever been. You know, you don't have a lot of classes. They don't know most of their students. They're teaching them virtually. You know, it's a lot easier to connect with your professors and actually stand out from the rest of the virtual world than it's ever been before too. So just be intentional about making relationships with them, and just know that this is like a little test of your influence skills. You know, this is called negotiating and working out deals and selling and influencing adults, you know, that have control over certain things too. You know, so it's like this is a test of like the real world. Where can you actually use your sales and influence skills and ability to be able to negotiate things and be able to make moves? So we'll get on more. This will become probably part of our weekly topic on these calls, is just checking in and seeing how people are doing with this stuff. So, you know, by next Monday, again, it's not too early. There's gonna be some of your classes that you can already have conversations with now, you know, and again, get the easiest ones locked in first, the easiest finals that you can move up. And again, start off with like, hey, trying to negotiate not having to take the finals in the first place. Like that's the most ideal. You know, the second most is like you do something else instead of taking a final for it. hey, count my next exam grade as my final. Hey, let me write a little paper instead of taking a final. The third thing is just taking the finals early. The fourth thing is, taking the finals when you have to take them, but maybe having a little more flexibility or something. I don't know, or getting out of all the classes leading up into it. All right, we're 5:35, so we're going to move on to the next topic for today, which is just assignment reminders and benchmarks. Okay, so as of now, Felipe posted the updated results into the group chat here from a little bit earlier today. But just want to recognize real quickly people that are well over the benchmarks already. Tyler are over 700, and I think these are all from this morning. So I know a lot of you all have made some significant moves since this morning. Tomorrow morning, so you have till midnight tonight. You can do it till 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. Okay, tomorrow morning, I expect to see much different numbers from a lot of you all when this list is posted up. I don't care what time you do it today, just by the time tomorrow rolls around, there should be much different numbers from some of you all. So let's see, just recognize a couple other people here. Tyler over 700, Anthony Marino over 600, Gelsis over 600, Rob's over 750, Rochelle's over 820, Mason's almost over 700, Lindsay's almost 800. Jessica, I think, is now 1,000 when she gave her update. Taylor already over 1,000. Chloe already over 1,000. Really, really nice work. If I just recognize you in this group, just nice job again, staying ahead of pace on updates. If you're at look, if you're under 250 without publicly shaming you, we got to make some moves. We've had this now for 4 weeks. This has been up there. So there, in my opinion, there really aren't any excuses for not even starting this process. And again, this is just one of those things where it's not like you're just putting more work on yourself for later. It's not going to be an easy thing to make up. That's why we want to keep it slow and steady with this. And by the way, I even talked to Jess earlier. Jess is over 1,000. She said she's been putting 2.5, 3 hours a week into this. That's not even you guys. Mason, Audrey, Lindsay, all remember how much time we used to have to spend on Facebook to keep up with those benchmarks? 3 hours a week gets you ahead of pace by a lot, So that's also the other thing too, is I know if you're not at 5, that means you just haven't even put 1 hour a week into this, not even that, and this is your summer, this is your office next summer. So, today, here's the deal. I need everybody, if you're not at 500, you just need to find a way to get there tonight. We need everyone 100%. This team is only as strong as their weakest link. And, if there's someone that's not getting to 500, the whole entire team is going to be held back by that too. So there's still time for the rest of today and the evening, whatever you need to do to get to 500. I want to be able to wake up tomorrow and see confident that everyone in our division is on the same page. We're on the same frequency. Everyone's ready to have an epic summer, and that we're not 90% of the way there, but there's some stragglers, and that's usually how it is. But I like to have a different experience this summer. It'd be a much different culture when everyone's on the same page and frequency, and there's not stragglers. There's not people that are holding the rest of the group back in terms of the culture and standards here too. So I'm going to go ahead and play a quick video. And this is a video that I'm just going to save you all some time so you don't have another video to watch outside of this. I will just play it for you real quickly. And this is the video update that's getting sent out to the region later today on just where you should be at with social media jumpstart. A couple of things I want you guys to, I've had a couple conversations with other people today. Okay, your attack list and your handles, how many followers you have on your attack list and handles are just as important as how many people you have on your spreadsheet. Okay, sorry. Let me rephrase that. How many people you have in the attack list handles on the spreadsheet is just as important, if not, or it's just as important as growing your followings in your respective area. The second part of social media jumpstart. So growing your followings in your 2 Instagrams, that should be 50% of your energy and work ethic. If I'm putting 4 hours into social media jumpstart a week, 2 hours is going to adding Instagram handles, 2 hours is going into following and unfollowing people on my Instagram accounts to build my following. All right. Some of you all, for instance, on this spreadsheet that I have up here, if you are under 1,000 followers on your personal Instagram, and we're still working on this, by the way. This is not I haven't given you guys benchmarks for this yet. So you're not in trouble if you're doing this. I'm just pulling it out. So it's an area of awareness. So Marino, Rochelle, Tyler, Nick. Okay, if you're under 1,000 followers on your personal Instagram, I don't care how many people you put on that spreadsheet. You're not going to get good results from social media this summer. You can have 5,000 people on that spreadsheet and you're still going to have pretty poor results from your social media this summertime too. So this is something that like you got to put some attention to. Everyone that's over 1K, you're good enough to where like your Instagram looks credible-ish enough. But keep in mind that one credible-ish, yeah, that's a word, look it up. Keep in mind that when you send people messages, what's going to help with the response rate is that when they look on your profile, they have other friends that are following you. So building up your personal following with people in that market or network is going to increase the efficiency of your results. And that might not seem like a big deal, but if you send out, keep in mind for your accounts, 125 messages a week, 500 a month, 3 months, 1,500 messages. If you improve your results because you have 5% better results because there's more people following you in that territory and market, that's a big shift. 1,500 messages, 5% higher response rates. You're talking about an extra 5 to 10 reps working in your office this summer, going out and selling at a high level because of just that. So the list help, and we want to still do the list, but just make sure we're not taking away energy and focus from there. So I'm going to go ahead and play this video. It will walk through some things, and then we'll get ready to rock and roll from there, and I'll wrap things up. So let me go ahead and cue this up, and we'll take some quick notes on this. 10 minutes long, and I'll probably stop at a couple points to clarify some things. Can you guys hear it? Nope.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, after the video.
Okay.
Because it might get answered by the video. All right, Eastern Region branch and district team for the summer of 2021 wanted to record this quick update video on our social media jumpstart program, where you should be at the program, what you should be doing, and some quick direction at this point in time. So as of today, today's the first deadline. On February 15th, you should be at least 500, if not closer to 1,000 range on your social media benchmark updates and sheets. Again, I want to give a friendly reminder that make sure that we are not just putting names onto the spreadsheet, not just putting down people to hit a certain benchmark or quantity, but really focusing on the quality of people that we want to recruit. Really go in with intentions of not just, hey, can I find people in my territory that have 1,000 followers or from a school or network, but can I make a list of the top 50 to 100 targeted students that I want to recruit for the summer of 2021 from each of my schools and each of my networks. Those are the ones we want to get up on the spreadsheet. Those are the people we want to be targeting for this program. So that should be done today. I also want to provide some direction on what should be happening right now with growing your followings on both your office and your personal Instagram. So I want to make this point of this is just as important, if not more important, than what you're doing with the work on the spreadsheets. So if I'm investing 4 or 5 hours a week, 4 or 5 hours worth of work a week into this program, then 2 or 3 of those hours should be adding extra names and Instagram handles onto my spreadsheet, and 2 or 3 of those hours should be working on growing my following on my pages. I really want to make this clear and important. If you have less than 1,000 followers on your personal Instagram page, it doesn't matter how many people you put on that spreadsheet, you're going to get low results this summer, and you're going to have really low efficiencies, and people are not going to respond back to your messages. So, for the people that are already at 1,000, 2,000 followers, you really want to take some time to start growing your following in your territory, in your network. This is what will help you get the most response rates when people can see that their friends are already following you and you're already engaged with some of the people that they're engaged with, and as well as just getting your business Instagram to a point of credibility, meaning making sure it has at least 1,500 to 2,000 followers. Now, okay, we want to be growing your followings. With your office Instagram, if you want to start by just getting any followers, friends, families, literally they can come from anywhere. Okay, it could be robots for all I care. Just getting it to a certain follower amount so there's a certain level of credibility on that page. And again, we want to be growing our followings in those respective territories. But, at first you just want to get the following too. So you can literally follow anyone and get anyone to follow your page if it's just helping you build up that baseline. And from there, you want to make sure that you're actually following people that are in your respective market and territory. So I'm going to show you guys a quick video on exactly how to go about doing this and getting this thing done. So I'm going to go ahead and share my phone screen here real quickly. And let's see here. Let me do screen mirroring. 3, 2, 1. Okay. So I'm going to say I'm going to go to Christopher Columbus High School. Okay. This is just an example. And I'm going to go find people that are, I don't know, doing something here. Let's see here. I'm going to do most recent photos that were taken at the school. Great. I'm going to find him. Looks like he's an athlete, posted by somebody else. Okay, cool. And this is the way to do it. So number one, I would be following every single person that you put down in the spreadsheet. Follow those people as you go. Sales rep, SMRA, doesn't matter. It's all going to help you build that level. Now, if I pull up this, sometimes it's going to give me, I don't know if he looks like he goes to school in the area, or just might be another football player. It doesn't really matter. I'm not going to think about that too much. Look at Miami Vice Colors. Cool. I'm just going to give him a follow. Cool. And I can just go down the list here and start following all these people. I could also go to his list and look at the people that he's following, which are also probably, other people that, look at that. I'm already following a lot of them, which means a lot of them probably all go to Columbus. And I could go down the list and just hit this list. Okay. Either way, it doesn't really matter. But what you really want to do is get to a point, if you can find, your account pages like a school. A lot of them have class pages, right? So Columbus Explorers, but some of these might be private. If they are, that would be ideal. Or if I just hit Columbus High School Miami, okay, the people that are following this account can just go through the list, and literally anyone that looks like a kid, because again, you're just trying to build the followers. You don't need to be super targeted about it. They might even be parents that live in the area. Just get as many people to follow you as possible. So all I'm going to do is just probably go down this list and just start following, like literally do this. And I'm, maybe skip some of the ones that look like fake accounts and stuff like that too, but just go down and I'm pressing follow as much as possible. And I'm just following all these. So I'm going to do this. Okay. In an hour, you could do about 100. So I'll just go down until Instagram stops me from following any people, come back to it the next day, come back to it later that day, do it again, follow a bunch of people. And I would just go all following one week, and then the next week you can spend some time unfollowing people. So one thing that's important is you do want to kind of keep your ratios good, right? You want to make sure that your following number is not too much higher than how many people you're actually have following you. So if I have 1,000 people following me, I might ramp it up to now I'm following 2,000 people, and then I'm going to go ahead and unfollow 1,000 people, and then follow another 1,000 people, then unfollow 1,000 people. But this is an activity that you just want to get in a habit of doing. This is the number one way to grow your social media Instagram page, just by interacting and following people. There's other things that were in the original social media jumpstart conversation that you can use to feel with this, but this is going to be the number one thing, is to follow people. Another thing that you can do is go on the app store, type in Insta Cleaner or Unfollow app, and there's a bunch of apps out here just like this one that you can use to rapid unfollow people. So you can't use this to follow a lot of people, but you can use it to help you unfollow. Now, this is a software that you're using on Instagram. So anytime you're using software on Instagram, you've got to make sure you're being careful about not overdoing it, because it can get you blocked if you go too aggressive with this stuff. So one of the things is just making sure, like in the actual settings, which there should be account manager, should be some settings on here. Let's see real quickly here. I'm not really sure it is, but whatever there might be, there's gonna be some settings on the actual platform and app that are going to be able to allow you to set the preset on how many people you're unfollowing, which again, you want to be like 100 top in an hour sitting. So the first thing that I would do when you go on this is, you probably don't want to unfollow like your friends, people that you're already following. So the first thing I would do is, before I even probably start mass following people, is I'd download one of these apps and I would go through, and what you can do is you can actually whitelist people. What that means is you can actually select certain people, whitelist them, and that means no matter what, you won't unfollow those people, so they'll never pop up. And if you go over here, I can see, for instance, it will show me if they're following me back, right? So if I wanted to do this, okay, I can select non-followers. That means I'm going to select everyone that doesn't currently follow me. Ghost users or inactive users are kind of similar. Ghost users means they follow you, but they don't interact with your photos. Inactive users means they haven't been on Instagram in a long time. So I could go through this list, select all people that are not following me. Okay. I'm not going to do this right now because I have 3,500 and it's going to take a while for it to load. But from there, I would be able to take an action. Let's say I hit action and I can hit unfollow this person or add to whitelist, right? So the first thing I would do is I'd select all my friends, add them to the whitelist. then you can set the filters in the background so that it doesn't show. Sorry, there's also dumb ads on this app. You can also select the background so it doesn't show you anyone that has been whitelisted on the app or on the platform. And then from here, I'd hit action, I'd hit unfollow. And what it will do is it will add them to a queue that I will have in the background. So if I go to pending task, you can see here, it's not going to let me do it. But if I start this process, it's going to stop me from, it's like freezing up because I've already met the following limits within an hour. So it's not letting me do it anymore. Right. But I could hit this and it would start anyone that I've added to that queue. It would just start mass unfollowing those people. So this is a good way and platform for you to do it, but it's really, there's multiple ways to skin the cat on this one. You just want to make sure that, again, you're constantly following and unfollowing people. This is a slow roll process, just like adding names to the spreadsheet. It's going to take a little bit of time to get this thing going, but it's something you want to be just kind of consistent. Like we used to add people on Facebook back in the day. You just, anytime you're sitting in class, anytime you have some free time on both your Instagram pages, want to make sure you're building up the followings for each and every single one of those. And by the way, if your personal Instagram page is under 1,000 followers, start with that one first. That is the most important one that you got to get going. Then move over and make sure you're growing both your office and your personal steadily at the same times with each other. And of course, keep working on getting your hands on another Instagram account. For a lot of you all, if you could get your hands on another person's Instagram account in your territory for the summer, that would solve a lot of your problems in the first place too. So that's a quick benchmark update of where we want to be at. That's what you want to be focusing on for the next 3 to 4 weeks and continue to add more names to the spreadsheet. So we're hitting and staying on pace with our benchmarks and setting up an epic summer for 2021. All right, great. So you have, like I said, you can Insta Cleaner, unfollow app. I know that video wasn't as clear as I'd like it to be because the app was kind of jumping around a little bit when I was using it. But there's a lot of apps that you could use that will just allow you to mass unfollow people. So just make sure you're careful with them. 100 an hour is the limit. Now, by the way, does it take an hour to follow 100 people? No, it takes 30 seconds. Like it literally takes 30 seconds. Go tap, 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 tap. Just find the list that you like and follow everybody on the list. That's it. Don't be like, this is not, like I'd follow people as you go. But just keep in mind, you're just trying to grow the followers. And if they live in if I'm around Sarasota and they live in Sarasota, that helps. Okay. You don't need to be like, well, is this a person I want to recruit? No, I'm not going to follow them. Is this person someone? Just follow people and unfollow people. You're just trying to get people to follow you. That's all you're trying to do with this process. Okay. So you don't have to be super like, it's not like targeting where you're trying to put people on a spreadsheet. Does this person go to my school or not? No, they only have 1,000 followers. I don't want to follow. No, just follow lots of people and follow them to kind of keep building that momentum on your accounts. So questions on that or anything on Social Media Jumpstart? Yeah, Lindsay?
Not necessarily a question, just something cool I learned recently. So my account was like 2,000 followers to like 5,000 following. So it was like really off. So I'm almost down to about 3,000 now. So I've been slowly like using like the apps and stuff, but eventually the apps kind of got incongruent. Like Instagram freaked out and it like tried to like have me create a new password and things like that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and take a guess. So I just started unfollowing people like on my followers list or on my following list. And what happened is when I unfollowed someone who was following me back, it would ask if I wanted to remove them from my followers. So basically, if you like just want to go into the app and like unfollow people and like you'll actually learn like who's actually following you back or not, and you can actually like refollow them. It might not be as efficient, but you can also do it that way. I didn't know about that, so kind of cool.
To Lindsay's point too, when you start unfollowing people, you want to make sure you unfollow the people that aren't following you first. Because like pretend it's just like if you unfollow people that followed you, some of those people will unfollow you too if they find out and get a notification like, oh, so and so unfollowed me, I'm gonna unfollow them. This is how some people are. So the first thing you do is like, let's say I follow 1,000 people, maybe 400 of them followed me back. Unfollow the 600 people that didn't follow you back first before you start unfollowing the 400 that actually followed you in the first place. So those people I'd kind of leave on there, and then maybe when you get close to the summer, start just removing them off of it. But unfollow the people that like you followed, interacted with, and they didn't follow you back to start with there too. Also, if you have like studs that you see that you really want them to follow you, like a couple of their photos too, like 2 of their photos and then follow them. don't scroll down and like the creepy thing and go all the way to the bottom, just like they're like 2 most recent photos and then follow. Okay. Don't scroll down like a photo from like a year ago. Which is weird. So any other questions on social media stuff?
I have a comment, like just a random thing. I don't know if anybody here likes to like scroll on Instagram, but like a more efficient thing to do instead of like scrolling on your regular one is to go to like a hashtag. Like I like to do this too, and it gets me followers. Usually I get like 20 a day, usually just from like scrolling when I'm like on the toilet or something. Like literally just scrolling, and you can like photos on a tag. So I usually do like hashtag entrepreneur because like my profile kind of looks like that. And then you go to like most recent and you just like through them. And a lot of these people have like 1 or 2 likes on their posts, and they'll follow you just for liking their posts. Like I'm just liking random posts that I see instead of scrolling on like all my friends, and then I get random followers from it. So just a random thing.
Yeah, that's a good way to build your office accounts. And by the way, keep in mind with your office accounts, just try before you start following people in your area, get it over 1,000 first. If you start trying to really follow people in your area with your office account before you've gotten some just random followers first, it's just they're not your follow back ratio is gonna be off. Like it's gonna take more follows to do it. And you don't want people getting a negative impression of your page. You want people seeing it and then following you back. So I would just make sure that's happening too. Is that like Tyler said, you can fill up with the business account, or by the way, if you have a personal account under 1,000 right now, I don't really care where the followers come from. Just get some followers. Like they could be whoever you want them to be, like this entrepreneurship business people. They could be people in another country. Doesn't really matter as long as your just total following count is improving. Then after you got over like that base credibility threshold, then we want to start getting followers in our respective market and area too. So, but there's some other techniques out there. And by the way, like I'm giving you guys just some basic stuff, but like, be resourceful. Hop on Google and just look up a couple, like Google how to grow my Instagram following. It will give you some goods in there too. But it's just something we want to be spending a little bit of time and energy going into. Okay. We spent a little bit more time talking about getting out of finals, debrief from the prep, and social media benchmarks I attended. So not a big deal. We'll table some of the stuff that I had on our list today for the call for next week. And I think this is good that we got this stuff a little bit more out of the way. For clarification, the dates, couple quick just date reminders here for us. Okay. Everyone has been added to the Gunner chat. So everyone in this chat, you should have a photo in that chat. Okay, doing it with either Jonathan, Alex, potentially linking up with Cassidy. Shit, you guys can even do your own push PCs if you'd rather do it for yourself. For some of you all, you're like coming back in return or something like that too. Like, try mapping out your own push and then post a photo and a selfie or whatever too. Take off some of the load, maybe off of Cassidy or something like that. For some of you all, like you should be able to PC yourself and create a push schedule if you want to and you're going to run a branch this summer at this point in time. Which is probably a good exercise for some of y'all to do. But those are expected. The due date is the 22nd. That's the latest if we want any of those up. So just sometime between now and next week, you got to get those done and make sure we're preparing. Everyone should be on the Vector Impact app by this point in time. If you have a lot of your old customers and recs on queue, make sure you get them transferred over. And again, make sure we're just like utilizing that. Like it's not just your push performance, it's how the culture of our push performance. Like really utilizing that chat the right way and building up the hype leading up to the March Madness. It takes a village to be able to create the experience that we want to create for all of our reps, not just our managers right now, in our respective offices too. So that's coming up. I know some of you all have other things coming on, by the way, that like there's a Bigs event that some of you all are going to. There's a Tampa retreat that some of y'all are going to. There's some other things happening right now, but just keep in mind that, again, Kill meeting, which will be the weekend of the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st, okay, is going to be is the most important meeting leading up to the summer. And it will be very just intense, not intense. It will be very helpful, but it's going to be a very engaged, structured meeting. And there's going to be a lot going into that and coming out of that meeting too. So I just want to give you all a little bit of forewarning that if you're stacking up your schedule with a lot of big ass events on weekends, again, school is still out there and getting out of finals early, and there's a lot of stuff going on too. So just make sure you're being careful and not over scheduling yourself, with some of the stuff that's going on here right now. But that's coming up on the 19th, 20th, 21st. I will probably have locked in details by the end of this week. Felipe is finishing up, just looking at some of our venues and events where we can book it. and do the event. For people that are out of towners, I know some of you all have already reached out to me about like flights and things like that too. So I will again get back to you with some clarity in the next day or two or a couple of days. By this week, we'll have a firm direction on that too, so we can get some stuff locked and loaded for y'all. And I'll give you guys some clarity on what the expectations and support from the division will be for that to get things ready to roll. Cool. So that's mostly all I have on my list here for today. Last assignment, just for people to be aware of, is again, we keep reading the book that we talked about, keep working on social media jumpstarts. Let's get everyone 100% over 500 by the end of the night. No excuses across the board. Let's get everyone there. And the last thing is I'm going to send out a Google form tonight for everybody to fill out today, or like tomorrow morning at least. And on that Google form, I'm going to ask you just really, I'm trying to get a quick take on 2 questions, which is your office situation. What are you thinking about in terms of living? Where are you going to work this summer? Where's your office? You know, are you getting in office physically? Are you working in a WeWork? Are you working out of another district manager's office? Like, what's the plan for your office right now? Number 1. And then number 2, the second thing is I lost my train of thought, so it'll be on the Google form. You'll see it there. Outside of that, everyone have an awesome day. I'll talk to you later. See ya.